Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 70 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts, Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How are the two of you doing?
I'm doing well, Michael.
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
That is wonderful to hear, gentlemen. I'm so glad you are doing wonderful.
I'm not sure what that voice was I was doing. It's almost like a Zap Brannigan.
It had some Zap Brannigan feel to it.
Zap Brannigan.
This is the week of silly voices.
Listen to the podcast.
Oh, you're going into the Arnold. Do I dare? Should I?
Do it.
Welcome to the Anime Banter podcast. Nah. Thanks for tuning in. Get to the chopper. Is that all right?
That was really good.
Followed by like 10 seconds of dead air.
I thought
where just no one says anything.
I thought we had a celebrity here. I thought Arnold joined the podcast.
Yeah, I'm here for today. I want to thank you for having me as a guest.
Arnold, what's your favorite anime?
Oh, my favorite anime is the one from Japan.
I see.
Hey Arnold, who's your waifu of the week?
Big surprise, it's me.
I thought it was Sarah Connor.
Do you have a beer of the week, Arnold?
My beer of the week is whatever's in the fridge.
Listeners, is this segment working for you? Do you want voices every week?
I think the answer is no, but that's fine.
Q&A with special guests, I can do a Smeagol, people want to talk to Smeagol. We could do I could probably imitate some offensive Simpsons characters, like a Pooh or something, Let's not do that one.
I love this new angle we're shooting for here.
Yeah, welcome to Anime Banter Podcast Unhinged, where we just go off the rails completely. It was a rough night for me. I slept like 4 hours last night, so I'm a little loopy here.
Were you too busy playing Destiny or Final Fantasy 14?
Nah, I drank too much caffeine, and I laid in bed for like an hour. Yeah, I drank caffeine too late, and I don't drink coffee or tea, so like if I just have like a Coke, then the caffeine still affects me. So I had one too close to bed, and I tried to lay down to get off to the great start for my work week, and instead I was just absolutely screwed.
I feel like I've been half asleep all day, so that's where I'm at.
I'm feeling alive!
Lead us to victory, Mike.
Maybe I'm feeling so alive from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, so good.
That soundtrack was top notch.
Woo!
Now, gentlemen,
we're gonna be spoiler free here.
I'll say I've not seen it, and we must remain spoiler free.
Yes, yeah, I don't like spoilers, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But if you are a Marvel fan, if you're a Deadpool fan, and you've not seen this yet, please do yourself a favor, go see it. It's very much worth it. I want to see it again.
The soundtrack was absolutely bitchin'.
It was very good.
I was like jamming in my chair the entire time the movie was happening because it was so good. A lot of good stuff in the movie.
Oh yeah, it's a Deadpool movie, so I mean, you've got jokes, you've got cameos, and
you got a post-credit scene,
and just all around fun.
You got a mid-credit scene. Oh, the goodness! It felt very much like it had Deadpool 1 vibes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Sean, you need to see it ASAP so we can spoil it for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it Tuesday.
Excellent.
I know that I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good experience. I'm just I'm kind of bummed I couldn't see the day it came out, but that's just how it goes. I've been doing my best to avoid spoilers. TikTok has already ruined at least 2 things that I thought were interesting. So I gotta stay off social media until I can see it, which is hard because I have brain rot and I'm addicted to my phone. Maybe I'll go out and touch grass.
I put myself on a social media ban for a couple of days to avoid spoilers.
It's not a bad idea.
I am just not active on social media, so I did not have to worry about that.
Shall we jump into the anime?
Let's
Let's
go.
do it.
Let's go!
Get to the anime.
Yo, Adrian, I did it! Today, we are talking about Episode 8 of Kaiju number 8 and Season 7, Episode 8 of My Hero Academia. Kaiju number 8, Episode 8. Welcome to the Defense Force. We're jumping straight into the action this week as Hoshina powers up, getting ready to attack Kaiju Kafka. Kafka wonders what should he do, as he can't unload on him like he would a Kaiju. Hoshina has no time for Kafka's thinking and begins to slice at him. Kafka begins to dodge Hoshina's attacks and realizes he can't dodge them all with how fast Hoshina is. Kafka is pretty sure he dodged an attack that unveiled his core.
Get out of there, Kafka.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
I love the clip clops. Thank you.
Those coconuts were brought to you from African swallows.
Not European swallows.
No. Hoshina is getting angry that Kafka isn't taking the fight seriously and realizes something about the fight seems off. Hoshina powers up and sends a double invisible slash attack at Kafka that cuts off his left leg at the knee. But it turns out it's a triple attack as Hoshina teleports in. Kafka is able to grow teeth in his chest to trap Hoshina's blade. Kafka powers up a punch. Hoshina realizes he's in some deep shit, but Kafka punches the trap blade, breaking it. Hoshina calls Mina, saying Kaiju number 8 has escaped.
I'm not gonna lie. The way that a lot of anime is crafted, I thought this fight was gonna last for like 2/3 to 3/4 of the episode, and it didn't, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very cool sequence. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all I have to say. It was a great sequence, and honestly, I think it's my favorite sequence of the whole episode.
We see Shinomiya reflecting on Kafka and wondering if it's safe to trust him. Speaking of Kafka, he appears in front of Shinomiya, and she begins to blush at the sight of him. Ship it, Sean! Ship it!
Never! You'll never make me ship it!
Kafka asks if she was worried. Shinomiya's voice raises an octave as she says, "Of course not. Don't flatter yourself." Kafka begins to collapse as Shinomiya catches him. Kafka apologizes for allowing Top Hat to get away. Shinomiya blushes once again. Ship! Ship! Ship!
No! No!
Kafka tries to walk away to go help Furuhashi and Ichikawa, but we get a comedic bit of Shinomiya stopping him by the collar and begins to yell at him for not thinking about his own safety and getting spotted.
I feel like I'm being exorcised right now, like I'm possessed by a demon and yelling, "Ship, ship, ship" is like the power of Christ compels you over here. I can't tell if there is something going on with Shinomiya or if she just has that general tsundere personality. She definitely is like, it's not like I liked you or anything. It's just like she's full blown tsundere. If you're into that kind of thing, I'm not. When I was younger, maybe as an adult, I'm like, yeah, like quit with the games. All right, like, quit with all that. But I don't know. She's probably like 18 years old, and he's 34. So or 32, 32. I don't remember. Anyway, though, yeah, no ship. But Shumi is pretty cool, though. I'm still cool with her.
Mina walks up on Hoshina, sitting on the ground, sulking after his fight with Kafka. Mina takes a picture of Hoshina at his lowest moment. Mina asks if he got a sense of what Kaiju number 8 can throw at them. He believes it's a Dai Kaiju, the first in 5 years. Hoshina is confused at the battle, saying Kaiju number 8 fought more like a human than a Kaiju. Mina tells him to get some rest. Mina and Hoshina get yelled at by someone talking way too loud on the comms, saying that Top Hat was disguised as a human.
I mean, he was. But by the way, I do want to throw it out there. At least we can acknowledge the existence of Kaiju number 9 instead of instead of like, yeah, I could see them writing this where like no one knows that Kaiju number 9 even exists and Kaiju number 8 just keeps getting into trouble or keeps getting spotted. I'm glad that at least they know that he exists now.
We cut to humanoid Top Hat walking in the middle of the road as a car approaches him. The driver gets out of the car, asking if he's deaf or something, and to get out of the road. Top Hat points at the driver, walks by him, and then turns and eats the driver. We see Top Hat now in the car and now has a new disguise.
Yeah, dude morphed into something that looked like it belonged in like Chainsaw Man or Jujutsu Kaisen. Whatever he did that biting motion. But also, I'm just throwing out there, if there's a dude who looks like he's drugged out on the street, like standing in the middle of the road, don't get out of your car and confront him. It's a bad idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't believe this guy just like got out and started yelling at him. I'm like, that why would you do that? That's not going to end well. And it didn't.
Ichikawa wakes up in the hospital to Kafka and Shinomiya sitting by his bed. Ichikawa says he's glad Kafka is okay. Kafka chops him in the forehead, asking, "Why are you stealing my lines, you goof?" Ichikawa says thanks for saving him and Furuhashi. Shinomiya and Kafka have a stunned look on their face as we learn Furuhashi is in the same room. Furuhashi is confused and asks if old dude did something. Ichikawa is nervously trying to answer, and Shinomiya points out that Kafka told everyone about the reproductive organs. Furuhashi buys the answer. Furuhashi brags about how cool Kaiju number 8 is, as Shinomiya is not pleased and Kafka blushes until Shinomiya starts repeatedly punching him in the ribs.
I mean, Kaiju number 8 is pretty cool. But it makes sense that Furuhashi is a little confused.
I love how they point out how gullible Furuhashi is.
Yeah, this little scene was pretty funny, actually. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I liked it too.
At a restaurant, there's a cake with figures of Furuhashi and Ichikawa on it saying, "Congrats on leaving the hospital." Everyone welcomes them back. We learn that the new recruits waited to celebrate their first mission until the two of them got out of the hospital. A door opens as we see the chef and his staff kneeling before the room. They show off the meat they are about to cook. I got a good laugh at how they gave the meat the anime sexy look treatment. We learn that Izumo organized the party. The chef says they are giving them their best, but Izumo says he asked for the cheapest stuff they had. Kafka is confused by Izumo's reaction and wonders if he's a big deal. Shinomiya can't believe Kafka doesn't know who he is, and that Izumo is the heir to the company who makes the suits for the Defense Force.
Of course he doesn't know who he is. The only person he cares about is Shinomiya because he's her biggest fan, according to the earlier episodes.
Get on that ship, Sean.
No. I said every time you say ship for them, I feel like I'm being blasted by holy water. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool getting to know some of the potential jobber side characters. Yeah, I'm not saying they're all jobbers, but they might die.
Hoshina toasts the new recruits and says how everyone is somehow off duty all at once. Very convenient, that is. We see everyone eating and drinking, talking about the battle. Ichikawa can't believe how well everyone is getting along. Hoshina gives a sinister look and tells him to slow down as the real fun is about to start. We see everyone starting to freak out at each other about showboating and talking about each other's weaknesses. We see a drunk Kafka telling Izumo to fix his stupid suit. Ichikawa is starting to get upset about everyone fighting, but then realizes that everyone is actually working through the bickering to get stronger as a unit. A drunk Kafka challenges Kaguragi to an arm wrestling match and gets destroyed.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Kafka always getting humiliated, uh, which is funny to me. It's something that just it just goes so well with the comedy of the show. Kafka just getting dunked on all the time. Um, one of the things I think is interesting is that them like talking out their problems and things like that. It's interesting. I mean, like, have any of you ever been to like a work happy hour or like a work picnic or something like that? And sometimes you get some really interesting conversations out of people that you can get like at that setting and not at the workplace. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's not necessarily a bad idea to do a happy hour type of event. Of course, I'm also the kind of person though who, as soon as work is done, I just want to go home and I don't want to stay and like hang out with coworkers any longer than I'm being paid to.
That's fair. I think that's like an age thing, though. Like, I remember when I first started working, I was like, oh, yeah, work happy hour? Heck yeah, let's do it. And now I'm in, like, my mid to late 30s. I'm like, I want to go home and not have to entertain work conversation after
Yeah,
hours.
I was that way when I was 22.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few, outside of work events, but it wasn't so much a happy hour. It's just like a couple of us went out and had a few drinks on occasion.
That's pretty much what a happy hour is. Well, it's not the same thing necessarily.
Yeah, it's not like everybody showed up. It was like just a couple of us were like, "You want to get something to drink?" And we just did. It wasn't like the whole office went.
We see Izumo meeting with the chef. The chef says how overjoyed they were when the young master reached out, and that the chef didn't expect to see Izumo again. Izumo says he just wanted his friends to enjoy a nice meal. The chef asks about Izumo's father, but we learn that the two haven't spoken since, quote unquote, the event. Izumo says how wonderful the meal was. Kaguragi appears behind Izumo. Izumo wonders if he heard all that, but Kaguragi is just going to take a leak.
Well, I'm guessing whatever the next event is, that Izumo's gonna live through it, because how else will we learn about the event? So, I guess that's just the storytelling they want to give there. But Kaguragi also is probably gonna live, so they can talk it out. Storytelling.
Hoshina tells the kids to simmer down now, and that he has a very important announcement to make. He calls out Kafka, saying they owe him their thanks, and that they are making Kafka a full officer and welcomes him to the Defense Force's 3rd Division. We see everyone celebrating the news. Kaguragi says that this is a good night, and if he can, he wants to bring everyone home every time. Everyone begins to toss Kafka in the air to celebrate.
Yeah, the tossing was fun. Uh, it's nice to see that Kafka's teammates like support him. I actually like having him around instead of just like bullying him or making him feel like crap all the time for being like the weakest one. I like that they have like a sense of camaraderie. I didn't serve in the military, but I imagine the military is kind of like that, where even just like the weakest soldier in the unit is like accepted as like a brother. And I think that yeah, it's admirable to have that kind of camaraderie.
Kafka is in Mina's office in his uniform as Mina swears him into the Defense Force. Kafka salutes Mina. His voice raises 2 octaves as he says he shouldn't take up any more of her time, and he tries to walk off. Mina tells him not to get too excited, and he's still a long way from fighting by her side. Kafka is happy that she remembers their promise to each other. Kafka tells Mina he swears to be fighting by her side. Mina makes him do 50 push-ups for not addressing her as captain. We learn that Hoshina was the person who recommended Kafka be promoted.
My man Hoshina coming through in the clutch. He's the one who I'm pretty sure he's the one who got Kafka in the first place, and now he's pushing for his promotion. And I think he probably just sees that Kafka, despite not being the strongest guy, actually does possess some leadership qualities that a lot of the other new recruits don't really seem to possess. A lot of these recruits, they're so focused on like themselves and pushing their percentages higher, and even becoming like rivals with each other. But they don't really seem to do a lot of tactical or big picture thinking. And Kafka's the only one who seems to do that. So even though he's the weakest, he's something of a leader.
Kafka is in the library hitting the books late at night again. He leaves the library and sees the light is still on in the training room. He wonders if someone forgot to turn the lights out, but turns out Hoshina is in there replaying the fight against Kaiju number 8. Kafka falls to the floor. Hoshina wonders what is Kafka doing there so late. Kafka says no offense, but he could be asking the same thing. Pretty ballsy to say that to your vice captain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, dang soldier, answer the question.
That's our Kafka.
Hoshina says he's game planning for Kaiju number 8, and the next time he sees him, he will cut him in half. We learn that Hoshina was using scale 5 in the fight, but if he was using scale 6, he would have cut the core into pieces. I absolutely loved the Kafka and Kaiju Kafka freak out comedic bit here.
Oh yeah, I would have cut the core to pieces, and then he's like, yee, and then the I love behind him. It was him as Kaiju number 8, but with the nipple peeing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Hoshina
I'm like,
says,
can I say that? We get censored for saying nipple peeing. Yeah, I don't want to say it ever again. Guys, stop doing that as a gag, or else I'm gonna have it. Turtle, you can reference it next time.
Hoshina says number 9 is in the same ballpark as 8, and he has to take care of them both. Kafka says he'll do anything he can to help. Hoshina puts him in a chokehold and asks, what are you going to do? Put 110% of your 1% combat power in? Hoshina releases the hold and says it wouldn't kill him to put 1% of his faith into Kafka.
Aww.
That's how he's able to. Yeah, probably how he's. I'm hoping this is like alluding to whenever they do find out he's Kaiju number 8. You gotta assume they're gonna do it before the end of the first season here, right? Like they have to find out. I feel like either that might be like the mid-season finale, or not mid-season, but like the episode like 12 or whatever the last episode is. That could be the big reveal, and they leave us on a cliffhanger. Or they could do it earlier and like resolve that. But I feel like Hoshina really likes Kafka, and obviously Mina is out there. So like all the people in charge of his unit are fans of Kafka. So like if they ever find out, I feel like they might go to bat for him, but I can't say that everyone in their regiment will, or all the other captains across all the other like divisions will feel the same way. So I don't know. Kafka's gonna have at least he'll have a couple people on his side. I think if it comes to all out war.
I think that's the thing I'm most looking forward to with this show is his reveal that he is a kaiju and who reacts in what way.
Hoshina feels like a big brother. Even if he's younger than Kafka, he has that big brother mentality to Kafka. Like, I'm going to give you hell. I'm going to put you in a headlock and beat up on you a little bit. But at the end of the day, I have faith in you. The episode ends as we zoom out of the city and see a bunch of wyvern-looking kaiju. The one has a humanoid-sized kaiju riding it in red armor with a sword on his back and a tail. We get a close-up of its mouth. It tells the flock to descend.
The next villain.
Indeed. The next
Yeah,
fight.
I'm gonna guess this dude is Kaiju number 10, right? Because everyone that's been able to like talk gets a number, right? So 8, we now have 9. This guy's got to be 10, but it feels weird going to 10 without fully resolving 9. So I was kind of surprised. I thought we would see more of 9 again, but maybe going to number 10 if that is number 10. I'm just gonna call him number 10 for now, because it just makes the most sense. All the ones that have numbers can talk. Dude reminded me of like a Final Fantasy Dragoon character, like riding on top of a dragon. Dude looked like he was about to jump off and spear someone. I like his design. Looking forward to what happens next. Good episode.
Turtle, what did you think of the episode?
I think it's a pretty good episode, but I'll be honest, this one kind of bored me. I would say this is probably my least favorite episode of the show so far. I don't know what it was. The opening bit against his fight with Hoshina was the highlight for me, and then the rest was just kind of boring. I get like it's important, and I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I just was not super into it.
That's fair. I really dug the episode, but I could totally see how it comes across as boring, as it's like a little bit of filler trying to like between fights and everything.
And that's not a bad thing. Again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I just felt like there was just too much uh in between. But then again, like we haven't known all these characters that long, so you got to have some sort of back and forth with them. But I don't know, I was just kind of bored.
I'm feeling pretty thirsty after talking for so much. And they say alcohol is the best medicine. And that means it's time for Mike's Beer of the Week. This week's beer comes to you from Green Revel Brewing and is their Hard Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Baja Blast. Baja Blast. AKA the best Mountain Dew flavor. This was absolutely incredible. It tasted just like Baja Blast. If you're a Baja Blast fan, I would definitely try to find this beer because I loved it. I fell in love with it. Baja Blast is the shit. Baja Blast. The untapped average rating is a 3.44, and I give it a 4.25. Baja Blast. Now that our thirst has been quenched, let's shift gears to talk about My Hero Academia Season 7. My Hero Academia, Episode 146, 2 Flash Fires. We see a gorilla-looking guard walking a hallway. We hear All For One and Shigaraki's doctor talking from behind a cell door. He says that this day is a culmination of all of his hard work and planning, looking for All For One's new vessel, as we see Dabi surrounded by his flames. At the battleground between Dabi and Todoroki, Dabi laughs, and as he does, fire comes out of his mouth. Endeavor's underlings stand in front of Todoroki to play guard. Dabi says, "Some fires never go out," as we get a flashback of a young Dabi trying to get Endeavor to come see how super awesome his fire has gotten. We see how heartbroken young Dabi was when Endeavor no-showed him. We see how scared young Dabi was of dying, and how he hasn't shown Endeavor anything yet.
Yeah, this is the scene where the young lad is just like erupted into flames and burning to death, pretty much, and starting forest fires, which Smokey the Bear would be very disappointed.
I was going to say, remember kids, only you can prevent forest fires.
Yeah, young Dobby must not have seen the public service announcements because he started one heck of a forest fire. Good thing he fell into that pond, lake, whatever it was, the body of water to extinguish himself. But yeah, Boy was burning bright.
Back to the doctor. He proclaims it was easy to see the derangement in Dobby's eyes when he met him. That Dobby had everything to be the next vessel for All for One, including Anakin's look from Revenge of the Sith.
I hate you.
Yeah, could you imagine if Dobby came back in a Darth Vader suit, though?
Hell yeah.
Probably better he didn't.
Endeavor, I am your son.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's the reverse of Star Wars in this case, right?
We see a young Dobby in a hospital. He can't believe he's alive. Dobby walks into a room full of other kids. He's confused by the sound of his own voice. I was also thrown for a loop, as I'm used to adult Dobby's voice. We learned that Dobby has been in a coma for 3 years. Dobby finds the one the kids are calling Mr. Sunny. This character has what looks like a kid's drawing for a sun as a face. Mr. Sunny tells Dobby he lives here now. Dobby is in denial on why Endeavor didn't show up that faithful day. That Endeavor was probably busy doing hero work, and he has been super worried about him.
Yeah, so let's talk about this hospital for a second. Are they kidnapping kids and not letting them leave?
Yes.
Sure feels like that.
Like, yeah, I'm like, this is quite the unusual hospital. The fact that the parents don't know that he's there and they won't let him leave.
And Mr. Sunny is there.
Mr. Sunny's pretty fucked up and I don't like him.
Yeah, he gives off some, it doesn't feel like he should be in like a registry or like a list somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to stereotype him based on looks, but I just something about him that seems a little off, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I was a little confused as we're doing this flashback and I'm watching this scene and Mr. Sunny comes on the screen and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Imagine like dozing off for a minute and then opening your eyes and just seeing this guy.
What happened to My Hero Academia? What show is this?
All for One begins to talk to Dobby and tells Dobby how difficult it was to repair his body. All for One tells Dobby that his face has changed, that his quirk has greatly changed as well, and that his pain tolerance has risen due to all the damage to his organs. All for One playing some serious mind games here, as Dobby looks the exact same as he had before. We get a montage of Dobby growing up, as Dobby begins to cry. All for One says if Dobby stays, they can get his flames back to their former glory.
There's some real messed up stuff here. But I don't know. We're supposed to hate the villain, and I definitely hate him.
All for One asks Dobby if he will return to his family or train with them. Dobby tells All for One to shut up, and that the only teacher he wants is his father, as he throws the keyboard at the computer monitor. Mr. Sunny tries to calm Dobby down, saying that they're friends. Dobby pushes him away and tells Mr. Sunny not to touch him, as he throws a fire punch at Mr. Sunny.
Yeah, I want Mr. Sunny to touch me either. That's bad touch.
Back to story time with the doctor. He says it was too late for them to bring Dobby into the fold, and Dobby was too entrenched in pleasing Endeavor to be All for One's next vessel. They were hoping that Dobby would be a spare if something were to happen to Shigaraki, but they claimed that Dobby was too defective for that. Gorilla believes that the doctor is lying, as there could be no way that All for One had planned for all of this. The doctor tells Gorilla to be careful, as even he doesn't know what Dobby is capable of, as Dobby should have died long ago. That Dobby's body shouldn't have lasted more than a month after he woke. The doctor was curious at how Dobby was still alive. Dobby said he came back because it seemed like the perfect place to have his funeral. The doctor could tell that Dobby's rage was keeping him alive. Quick, Todoroki, give him a hug and the fight will be over.
Surely they'll get out of this one with the power of friendship, right? That's how it always works.
The power of family.
Brotherly love.
Fast and Furious 10. The Todoroki hug.
How many of those are there?
Too damn many. But
No, it's
don't you know it's all about family?
That's right.
I realize it's Japan, and it's either the power of friendship or like the brother sister bond, like Demon Slayer. But like brother brother bond, non-existent, non-existent in Japanese culture.
I mean,
Like that's not necessarily true.
look at Goku and Raditz.
Yeah, that's true. He killed his brother.
I mean, I guess technically Piccolo would have killed him.
Yeah, well, he held him in place.
True. I mean, he was definitely a part of it, but Piccolo shot the final blow, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other scenarios where brothers kill each other. I always watched the show Basilisk, which is essentially Romeo and Juliet, but with ninjas. And I actually didn't really like it, but I'm sure some siblings killed each other in that one.
Sure, sure.
Dobby tells Todoroki that he actually went back to the house once before, but nobody recognized him and how weak he was. Dobby walked into the house to see Endeavor trying to train Todoroki that nothing in those 3 years changed, and that Dobby was a failure with no reason to live. After seeing that, Dobby refocused on his training. He never felt the pain of his flames again. He watched tape on Endeavor. The doctor says All for One had no use for Dobby, as Dobby steadily marched to his own grave. The visual of Dobby with the blue flames in his mouth are so cool. I had to pause the show here to truly appreciate how good the visual was.
Yeah, I read the manga was half checked out of this episode, so I missed that visual. Whoops. Sorry.
I honestly don't remember it, so I guess I have to go back and watch it again and
You're the man, Mike.
see what you're talking about, Mike.
Nice work.
Hey, thanks. President Mike is here to remind us about Endeavor's ultimate move, Flash Fire Fist. Dobby says that their bonding session with Todoroki cheered him up, and thanks Todoroki for being a good listener. Todoroki realizes that Dobby's heat is rising faster than his, as we see the statue of All Might melting in Dobby's flames. We see the time Dobby's flames change from orange to blue, and that Dobby was eventually able to copy Endeavor's Flash Fire Fist, but he calls it Hell Spider!
Yo, it looked good though. They almost made it look like lightning, you know. But it just looked good. Endeavor's underlings, they gotta go, man. They can't. They cannot handle this.
No, they cannot.
Endeavor's underlings ask Todoroki if he's ready, as they can't hold the flames off forever. As Todoroki says yes, Dobby appears behind Todoroki. Dobby punches Todoroki as Dobby begins to burn more skin off. I really like the visual of his skin just melting off throughout the entire episode. Dobby repeatedly punches Todoroki. Dobby calls Todoroki a spoiled brat who relies on others when Todoroki had all the best things in life. Dobby calls Todoroki a puppet who will never amount to anything in the world. Dobby sends Todoroki flying into a skyscraper with jet burn.
Man, this speech here where he's talking about all the best things in life, honestly, he just sounds like, sometimes the older sibling, I've seen this before, like the older sibling, where the parents are struggling to make ends meet and they don't get a lot of stuff, but maybe after a few years when the second sibling's born, the parents have more money, and the first sibling doesn't really get anything, but the second sibling gets a car. And that's how this feels. Where Dobby grew up and he's like, we lived in poverty, and then dad hit the lottery with his son, and his son gets a car, and he gets the best clothes, and he gets the best it's essentially my spoiled brat brother gets everything and I got nothing. And that's kind of how he feels. I feel like he feels like Todoroki's the spoiled brat brother, though in my family we didn't have that kind of divide. We were all equally unspoiled.
Todoroki says most of what Dobby said is true. He thought Dobby only had his eyes on Endeavor, so to be on his radar was nice. Todoroki says it's true that he was trying to catch up to his classmates, but in doing so, he discovered he was able to transform Flashfire into something else, something better, something that could stop Dobby.
Oh, baby.
Here we go.
We get a flashback of Endeavor and Todoroki talking on the phone. Endeavor wonders if they should reconfigure the team. Todoroki asks if it's so Endeavor can face Dobby instead of All for One, even though Endeavor is the only person who can put up a fight against All for One. Endeavor says it's his duty to stop Dobby, but Todoroki says it's theirs to share.
Yeah, it's not bad. I do appreciate that Endeavor was like, "Yo, you should not have to fight Dobby." He's like, it's so unfair, but I get why Endeavor is going to fight All for One.
I mean, he's the number one hero. He has to do it.
Yep, number one hero gotta go fight the number one villain.
Todoroki agrees that Endeavor was a madman, and that their family was a nightmare, but says only Dobby chose to burn people. We get a flashback of Deku being concerned for Todoroki on having to fight his brother. Todoroki says it's actually what he wanted, and maybe this is part of Endeavor's punishment. Todoroki shows off his fire ice chest. Denki goes up and says, while Todoroki's chest should be hot, it's totally not, and begins poking it with his finger. We learn that when Todoroki balances his fire and ice, he can use cold flames. We get a flashback of Deku calling Todoroki's quirk his quirk, not Endeavor's quirk. I always loved that scene.
That was an incredible scene.
A really good callback. I love when they reference things that happened in the show previously. Like, I love that they didn't forget about the UA trader and brought in Aoyama. Some people forgot about it. I never did, because I like a good mystery, right? So I like that this one of the fun things about My Hero Academia is they definitely like pulled a few things from the previous episodes and made them work, and I really appreciate that kind of especially as a comic book fan. I love continuity. Unfortunately, a lot of comic books don't follow continuity. They keep retconning themselves. But for a long time in the comics, the continuity was a flat line. No retcons, nothing like that. All the way probably till what, like the 90s or something like that. Yeah, like all the universes just kind of followed one flat line until they started tinkering.
Todoroki tells Dobby he won't allow him to ruin any more lives as he taps into Flashfire Fist, Phosphor. He uses Icebound Crash and Cold Flame's Pale Blade. I really wish Todoroki pulled out some of Arnold's Mr. Freeze ice puns here.
What killed the dinosaurs? Me!
The Ice Age.
I thought it would have been funnier if he said me.
Dobby can't believe that Todoroki can freeze his flames. Dobby puts his hands into the ground as Flashfire Fist Phosphor goes out. Dobby says, in this society, a warped rail can never stand beside a straight one, that he and Todoroki are proof of that.
This was nuts. The animation here is really cool. I love the way that they animate the like phosphor. It's had a really good look, and I really like the way that this was done. The big punch to the gut. Oh wait, sorry, that's later. Whoops, sorry, I thought that was right there. Still, it looks cool as heck. I stand by it.
Endeavor's underlings take the attack for Todoroki. They tell him to end it as they collapse. Todoroki wants to thank the underlings, as being grateful wasn't something he learned growing up, but something he learned from his classmates. Todoroki punches Dobby, putting out Dobby's flames with great Glacier Auger. Very cool whiteout visual of the ice going in front of Dobby's face and Todoroki's face. We see that Todoroki has frozen the battlefield as Dobby goes limp on Todoroki's shoulder.
What an ending, huh?
Woo!
The Great Glacier reminds me of some of the stuff he did. We referenced the UA tournament where they did the fighting, and in one of his matches, I can't remember who he was against. He just used a Great Glacier-esque ability where he just completely froze someone in place, and there's a giant glacier behind them. And I love that because he's already shown he can do great ice. I guess he could use his abilities to create large amounts of ice. He's been using his ice way more than he has his fire. It's more exercised. He has better control of his ice than his fire, I would guess, because of how long he used it when he was young. Because he refused to use his fire. So this was just incredible. I mentioned this before about my thoughts about the big three in this grade, right? There's like the big three who are seniors, and there's big three in the freshman class, and it's Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo. And I'm just throwing it out there. I don't see how Bakugo even fits into this. I think Todoroki is just like leaps and bounds stronger, and anything that would be otherwise is the writer trying to make something happen that shouldn't happen. That's I feel strongly about that. Obviously Deku beats them all, I guess, because one for all and plot armor. But yeah, Todoroki just looked like a total boss, and I wonder if I wonder if he's gonna be worn out and not really be able to fight in the rest of the final battle. I can't remember how this is gonna go. So for Todoroki, so yeah, just really good episode. Honestly, one of the best ones of the season. Also, we finally get that Dobby backstory.
Turtle, your thoughts?
All right, this might be a little bit of a hot take. This kind of bored me too. It 90%
What?
flashback, 10% action. And I'm not usually like the meathead type character, but I wanted to see some longer fight sequence. The doctor unnecessary. I don't need to see this guy again. I don't care.
Turtle, I thought you were making a pun with the hot takes.
No, no. I mean, maybe, but yeah, no. This one kind of bored me too. There's some great visuals. There's some good animation, but give me some action. I want some long fight sequences of these two characters going at it back and forth, and we just didn't get that here. It just wasn't for me, I guess.
No, you're right, Turtle. Actually, now I think about it, like I said, especially because I read the manga, like I was listening to the episode and like looking at my phone for half of it.
It's
Like I said, I knew it was gonna happen, but because the episode ended so strong, it like resonated strongly. Strongly, I don't know. It resonated with me greatly, and I really like the end. But you're right. If they could have just kind of made this episode the last 10 minutes, they really could have squeezed some of this down.
yeah. I mean, like the ending of that sequence is great, but like 90% of the episode before that is just like talking and talking and more talking. I'm like, okay, this just isn't necessary. I was so interested to get Dobby's backstory, but like he sort of like dropped it earlier. We're like, oh well, I was thought dead and you guys forgot about me, but I wasn't dead and I trained. That's his backstory. There's really not that much there. So I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed by it. And why did it take so long to go over? And again, like the doctor bit was totally unnecessary. Or not Todoroki. Dobby could have just explained that to Todoroki, and then we could have had like a 10-minute fight sequence that was like the best animated thing we've seen so far in the show, and we didn't get that. So I was kind of bummed.
Not your bet. Not a great week for you, Turtle.
No, I don't know why. I mean, I love these shows, but something about these week's episodes, they're not resonating with me. It's a miss.
Oh, gotta have to hope next week's better.
I sure do. I was kind of quiet for these ones. I just don't really have anything to add. I just didn't really care for them that much.
You didn't want to pull out the old anime ranter?
No, I don't think it's necessary to rant. I'm just disappointed. That's all. I'm not angry, just disappointed.
No, that's true. There's definitely a difference between like angering and just kind of boring, right? Like just
Yeah.
kind of boring. You almost don't want to rant about it because you're like, yeah, just nothing really got my interest here. Like if it was bad, like vending machine is, you could rant about it, but it's not bad like that show. These are good. These are good shows. They just had a couple off weeks for you.
Yeah, it's just, and again, like I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed. I was expecting and wishing for a little bit more in the battle department, and I didn't get that.
Well, this
So,
is an anime problem in general. They loved it. Like I said, Naruto was so brutal for this, where every time there's a fight, you spend 3/4 of the fight in flashbacks and like maybe a quarter of the fight actually fighting.
Yeah, and then there's, hundreds upon thousands of filler episodes that mean absolutely nothing, and yeah, that show had lots of problems. But you are correct, they would do a ton of flashbacks mid-fight sequence. I'm like, "Please stop that."
I mean, that's why people like Dragon Ball Z so much, because they don't waste your time with flashbacks. I don't need to know every villain. We don't know what 3/4 of the villains were all about. They looked cool, they had cool abilities, and then, like, one of the heroes just beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
you need sometimes. You don't need to have these crazy backstories, and we don't need to know every single character on the screen. It's just not necessary sometimes.
Yeah, like I think about old comic books, right? And you get these villains, and they'd be like, "Haha! I came across this old family heirloom. It's like a I don't know. It's a knife that shoots a laser beam, and I'm gonna use it to rob a bank." And like that's all the backstory you need for some people. That's as deep as that's deeper than you need for half the villains in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was for me this week was kind of a miss for both shows.
Well, that's a bummer that they were bad for you, Turtle, or boring. But maybe the waifu of the week is better for you. Turtle, why don't you kick us off with your waifu of the week?
I'm afraid this one's gonna be kind of quick. I'm gonna go with Kafka. He is able to avoid Hoshina's attacks and not die. He's able to not kill Hoshina and escape. And that was kind of about it. He told some jokes. He lost an arm wrestle match. And he's just all around fun. And he's my pick for waifu of the week. I'm going
He got
Kafka.
promoted too.
He did. He got promoted to full time. So congratulations, Kafka. You were the highlight for me this week.
Sean, who's your waifu of the week?
For me, I went back and forth on a few people. Maybe like Hoshino, but honorable mention to Hoshino for purely for promoting Kafka. But this week I have to pick Todoroki. The fight against Dobby was fun for me. It had a few good visuals. There's the family angst, but I'm glad Todoroki did what he had to do. Because I could see, they write the heroes being all good, they struggle with their emotions, and Todoroki's like, I have my mission, and I'm gonna carry it out. And I'm like, respect for the man. He knew it had to be done as a hero. And that is beating the living crap out of his brother. Love it.
I'm also gonna go with Todoroki. I mean, he wanted to be the one to stop his brother. He powered up. His new abilities are so cool. And yeah, he's just awesome this episode. I love how he thanked Deku for that moment back in season 1 of telling him that it was his quirk, not his father's, and how he really embraced that after Deku told him that. So yeah, I'm gonna also go with Todoroki. Thank you all for joining us this week as we watched Kaiju number 8 in My Hero Academia. We hope you join us next week for episode 71 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will continue our watch of My Hero Academia Season 7 and Kaiju number 8. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. If you are listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Thank you all for joining, and we will talk to you next week.